Hey, I'm Mike, and welcome to Retro Boost. This is attempt number 2 at the 1,000 subscriber special. Streamed yesterday, Saturday the 2nd. Went really well, and then just like everything broke on me, and I had to end the stream. Thank you so much to those of you who were in the chat. Someone threw out a very positive comment, made me feel a lot better. The whole thing had like a pit in my stomach. Oh, motions detected. I forgot to turn off Alexa. Let me do that. Alright. Otherwise, that's going to be a problem. After the dust settled, all the troubleshooting, there were casualties. My NES is completely dead. I'll have to replace it or repair it. The latter of which is unlikely. My experience with opening up consoles and working on them is zero. So most likely replace. And it looks like 2 of my cables have died. SCART cables specifically. My PS1 one and my Universal Nintendo one, which is disappointing, but I probably put a lot more wear on those than is expected, given all the comparison videos I've done and do, and all the experimenting I do and changes I've made. I've probably unplugged and plugged those cables back in a couple 100,000 times, like who knows. So from what I can tell, they aren't working right. So gonna have to do some repairs and whatnot, but no big deal. I mean, the more of a particular industry you dive into, the more like problems you'll find. Because if you're buying and messing around with a much higher than average amount of a certain product, you'll see more of those defects that a lot of people don't usually encounter. Good example, I used to sell home theater stuff, design like systems for people, home theater TVs, and it felt like we were coming across problems like daily. But the consumer side of that, one person might have a problem with their TV like once every 5 to 10 years, whereas we're encountering them like every other day because we work around them. So that's what happens. It doesn't really. I'm not mad at any of the products by any means. I'm not. I've already ordered replacements for a lot of it. So luckily, Black Friday deals are going on for some websites still. So anyway, let's move on to the topic at hand, which is the channel has 1,000 subscribers now. Hit that mark Monday last week, which is incredible. I started the channel in early 2020 is when filming began for the first handful of videos that dropped. And then the channel itself like went live, had content on it in like August of 2020, and then about 6-7 months after that, January, February, is when I started to release content that was like specifically aimed toward retro gaming enhancement stuff like RetroTINK. It's like RetroTINK, Extron, CARBY. Those are all some of the initial things I was talking about, and that became like the main focus of the channel. It's not what it was intended to be. It was originally just me making these joke videos, like game review, just for fun, little skits and stuff, and smart home tutorials. And then the retro gaming stuff basically replaced the smart home tutorials, and it's just been steadily growing ever since. In 2023, in particular, had like a ton of growth. And in like kind of like August of this year, a few months ago, I was like, it's gonna get to 1,000 before the end of the year if this continues, and sure enough, it did. So thank you so much to everyone who has watched, who has subscribed. Super appreciate that immensely. What I want to do is kind of reflect a little bit, and then I'm gonna have to do some other stuff. I wanted to mess around with the 5X Pro, rebuild some profiles, keep using the new remote, get more used to it. Maybe some Paper Mario if things continue well. That was the plan for last night, and a bunch of just glitches just compiled. On top of the cables going bad actually had nothing to do with the stream yesterday. That I just discovered as I went through and just made sure everything was working. I'm not sure when exactly that would have occurred. The last time I thought that there were potential SCART issues with my system was a while back. I thought it was my 5X Pro, to be honest, the port itself being like loose or something, but it seems like that's not the case. It's the cable. So anyway, the first thing I want to say is with 1,000 subscribers comes a major change with the channel, which is that I'm now like a full-on member of the YouTube Partner Program. So like I get paid now. And to be like super transparent with everybody, because like I don't feel the need to hide this kind of stuff. When I started this channel, and even like to now, like this is not what I see as a job for me. It's a hobby. It is a way to more creatively utilize my free time. And we had a lot of free time when COVID first hit, and that was kind of the whole point. And that continues. I feel like I'm a more productive and useful person to have this stuff to do. It's not my job. It's not a career. Does that mean that I'm not putting effort into it? Oh no, I put effort into my videos. I make mistakes like anybody does, and I've always had a lot to learn. The me right now versus the me from 2020, with what I've learned and can do with this stuff, is a very different person. It's just like, I don't do this to get paid. It's like what I'm trying to get at, basically. So the first thing I did was I went through like every single one of my videos, nearly 300 of them, 277, I think is the count right now. I went through all of them and customized the ads, because YouTube by default, it was like really aggressive on some, and I reduced them significantly. So I've reduced greatly the number of ads that play in my videos, like the mid-rolls and stuff. Like it was anywhere from like 6 to 12 to some of them had just tons, like the 40. It was weird. Like by default, like a 10-minute video would have like 2, 15-minute video might have 2 or 3. And then like it hits this weird transition where it's like, okay, it's 35 minutes, 15. And it's like every 2 minutes you'd have an ad. So I had to like get rid of all that. So ads have actually been playing on a lot of my videos for years now. Even as early as like December 2020, 6 months in, one of my smart home videos had ads playing. But the difference is now I get a piece of that, which is cool. And since that was all turned on since Monday last week, so roughly 6 days, I have got $5 in the bank. That's not exaggeration. $5 and something cents. So if my views are staying where they're at right now, I'm looking at like 25 to 30 bucks a month that this will be thrown my direction, which, you know, it's better than zero. And like that's a cable, like that's a new cable to review. That's like a new, like 8-bit receiver. 3 months worth of that is like a couple of controllers. Like that's not an insignificant amount of money. It is funny because like maybe you'd think like, oh, he's making bank now, he's monetized, that video has 12,000 views. I mean, yeah, not really. I'd have to be pulling in like probably tens of thousands of views every couple of weeks for this to be something that could like really contribute to providing me a living. So wanted to share those numbers though in case anyone was curious, since the bulk of my YouTube journey has not been on the partner program. It's been just doing this, just doing it. Now I'm doing it, but there's ads. I don't know if there's more ads, but hopefully the number of ads hasn't changed. Like I said, I did try to reduce them all. Yeah, so it was interesting. That was kind of shocking when I saw some of the 45-minute like RetroTINK videos, like the longer ones, like Porta versus the Porta 2X 5X Pro one was a good example of that. Like it just had like 20 ads on it, and I was like, no, and I cut it way down. That was really interesting. I'm glad that I have control over it, because that's too much. That would piss me off if I was a viewer. So funny too that I've gone to like look at my own videos to like quickly reference something, and an ad will play for me now on some that it didn't used to all the time, and I'm like, oh, it's the new norm, I guess. So cool. I just wanted to just explain that, I guess, because it is a big change for the channel. Additionally, I'm recording this video on top of streaming it. The recording is going to go live as its own video, and the reason for that is I want it to go on its own playlist, the celebration playlist that's on the homepage of the channel, and also the quality of the recording is going to be better than the stream, so like if I am gonna mess around with the 5X Pro, maybe do some Paper Mario, it'll look a little better since I'm recording it. And I might make that. I might do that more going forward. It depends on the resources it takes. Because although I have a very capable computer, I don't want to burn it to its core. So that kind of concludes my little intro segment there, going over thanking you and what's changed and recapping yesterday's disaster. So now I want to kind of redo what we were doing yesterday. Reflections on like where this all started, where we've come from 0 to 1,000. I think it's pretty interesting. So we're just gonna do like I'm not gonna be as long as yesterday's, a little bit quicker. So let's jump here. Okay, so actually not that one. The channel itself started in, like I said, spring 2020 as a like project to utilize free time during the pandemic. It should appear in a second. Hopefully it does. I'd actually planned on starting a YouTube channel much earlier than that. Okay, here it is. This is the first video I ever filmed. Still wearing purple. Purple's a big thing for the channel. That's my favorite color. I had the idea of doing a smart home channel because I was working for Amazon as a smart home installer, doing like installing all kinds of products, teaching people how to use them. I love that job. It was great. I ended up getting closed down. They closed the little smart home division in favor of other stuff. But like that, at that time in my life, smart home was like a big deal. It was a big focus of what I did for a job and like what I was into personally. I had like a full-on my apartment that I lived in at that time was like completely automated, the lights and everything, and like I would be out of town to do work in other territories, and like the house would like be programmed to do things as if someone was still living there to deter possible theft, because people think that someone's home because lights are turning on in one room, turning off in the other. So I love smart home stuff. So I had the idea of doing a smart home channel, but that kind of fell through because I realized pretty quick that to have a smart home channel, it would require like a lot of upkeep on things, and also right after I had that idea is when I stopped having that job. So like smart home pretty quickly became something that I was losing interest in. And I was like, well, I've been collecting all these like retro games, and like I've held on to all my old game consoles. My game collection at the time wasn't huge, but I had plenty of stuff. So I was like, maybe just do gaming stuff. I mean, I love gaming. So made a bunch of these like kind of angry video game nerd styled game reviews, just less the angry, because it's not really my style. But like the first one was me talking about the original Metroid, and it was just a good time. It was just fun to film. Did it with my parents. They helped me out with like the skits and stuff. All the filming and the editing was and continues to be like me. I'm a team of, in regard to like the editing process and that stuff, like I'm a team of one. I have friends that I do content with, but the editing, the capture, all that stuff happens just here. So it's a small operation. But like, these first videos, they were just for fun. But one of the videos that I did, that came out day one was a smart home one. Just to quickly show that, Harmony, where are you? There you are. These are actually no longer on YouTube. So here is something that may interest you. Come on. There we go. Same purple jacket thing. So I made a video talking about like the Harmony Elite. It's a universal remote. They're discontinued now. Another reason that I didn't want to do smart home stuff, because a lot of it just comes and goes so fast. But I did a video on Harmony Elite, universal remote, and like this is why I thought the transition to retro technology was like so feasible, because I was already like used to doing these like presentations / reviews, mix in a little bit of tutorial stuff. It wasn't like totally out of left field to like transition from smart home to retro gaming. The thing about smart home though is that I made like 2 or 3 smart home videos in 2020, and then maybe one every 3 months or so in 2021. And some of them did like crazy numbers. Like one of them got like 20,000 views. But the problem was pretty quickly, like I said, I was losing interest in that stuff and like didn't want to keep making it. But that's also where all the views were coming from. And I felt really bad. Like, man, there's people that are watching this stuff and they're subscribing too. And it's for content that's like not gonna continue. But here we go. Here's the part I wanted to freeze on. So in the background there is a StarTech USB capture card, which I still have. It's over yonder. This is where the gaming thing is so interesting. So when I started the channel, I did not know that like RetroTINK, CARBY, open source scan converter, none of that stuff. Didn't know any of it even existed. If I did, the beginning of the channel would have been something really different. So I was doing these gaming videos, but the problem that I had was I felt like the quality of them was pretty bad. To show one, I did like Kirby 64, and like, oh, where's some of the gameplay? Come on, like the quality, like it's pretty not good. Like you could deal with it, but like there's a part of me that was like, this just looks bad. So I tried to always use like Wii, because the Wii was like a lot better for stuff like this, or like my Retron 5 that I did have as a way to do like Super Nintendo and NES and stuff, because I played the Metroid game on the Retron 5. If I had known RetroTINK existed, like this would have been so different. I wouldn't have felt restricted in the games that I was talking about for these review videos, because like I transitioned to, I even talk about it in this video, I transitioned to playing it on the Wii because it looks so much cleaner versus the regular capture. So like it's bizarre, and it's crazy that I spent all this time Googling like how do you capture analog game consoles, all this stuff, and like it never came up. It wouldn't be until about December of 2020 that I was walking I'm a regular customer at this retro game shop that's near where I live. This is the first RetroTINK video. And like the manager was like a real big like retro technology junkie. Way more on the professional side than like just gaming. Like he did a bunch of audio stuff, crazy complicated setup that he had. It was very cool. Mostly geared for audio, some video, very sophisticated. And like after we got to talking about certain things, it got to a point where he was like, this may interest you, and he showed me the CARBY was the first thing he showed me out of the GameCube, and then he also showed me the RetroTINK 2X SCART, and like showed me all that stuff, and that got me interested in this stuff. And I look it up and I'm like, oh, the 2X Pro's got component composite, like that'll work with all my stuff. I also got the 2X Pro M like 3 weeks later, because I realized that the 2X Pro wouldn't take 480p. So I was like, oh, well, I need to have something that can work with my Xbox, PS2, Wii, preferably better. So I got the two of those. They arrived like late December, mid-December territory. I also got my first Extron Switch around that time. So it took like months to kind of put this all together between buying the parts and like assembling it. So I eventually made videos about all that stuff. This is the first RetroTINK video. The big thing about the big thing that I like about making the videos about this stuff is that I'm never going to get over the fact that I had never heard of this stuff. And everyone needs to make more videos about this. There are tons of people that are out there that I know that would love the idea of technology that not only provides a conversion to HDMI to a modern TV for your old console, but at the same time it cleans them up, it's lag free. Like we gotta get the word out more. Like the word's out there. There's a very vibrant and strong community, but there are still so many people. Like the place I work at now, like I've enlightened countless people that this stuff exists. Like it's crazy. Like, you know, sometimes stuff kind of exists in like its own little world, but there are so many people that would benefit getting a window into that world. Not that I'm like under some kind of delusion that I'm making videos that, people are gonna. I'm the one informing them. Like, no, I am by no means a viral sensation, but I just like the idea of making stuff that I hope people will find. If one new person that didn't know about this stuff comes across it, then I'm happy with that. It's also just fun as hell to talk about because I find this stuff super interesting. It took over the channel. Like, that's how much I like it. It's exciting technology. So this is the first one that I did on the 2X Pro. This is before I even had component cables for stuff like Super Nintendo and whatnot. That wouldn't come until way later. When I first started, it was all just the vanilla cabling for everything. So console like the PS2, the Xbox, the Wii, I would use component. But like Super Nintendo, Genesis, Dreamcast, those were all still composite. N64 and like PS1 were also composite. Now I've gotten some kind of upgraded cable for all those consoles, like HD Retrovision for Super Nintendo. Retro Gaming Cables is Genesis cables for my Genesis. RGB SCART for N64, PS1. And like I got a modded N64 so I could play around with that. So bit by bit, I continued to wade into this pond of retro gaming stuff, and it's just been so cool. The controllers have also been a particularly fun thing to play around with because it's super cool to increase the quality of your console's output, but it's also fun to like have a controller or something that's got like a modern design that works with all of them. I think this one's like my new favorite, the 8BitDo Pro 2, because using their receivers, I mean, this works on like every console I have except for the Dreamcast and like the OG Xbox. Everything else though, I can get it to work on, which is really cool. So the controllers are also fun as hell. I definitely want to get the Retro Fighters Xbox controller. But here's another part of this. So I put comments and update the descriptions of the videos too. So like one mistake I made with this video is the aspect ratio is 16:9. Really, it should be 4:3. That's what these consoles were meant to drive. So things like that are things that I've learned and improved on since. The funny thing is, I didn't think anything of this at the time because I was so used to playing retro games like GameCube and whatnot on my Wii to my television, which was 16:9. And like I just forgot that these are supposed to be 4:3 in most cases and didn't even think anything of it until I made the next video, which thankfully represented this stuff the way that it's supposed to look in terms of aspect ratio. Much better. See, like, there we go. Like, it's 4:3. Hooray. And even, like, to what I've learned since, I really make it a focus to talk about just how the quality is what's better, but there's more to it, like, technically than that I've learned over time. It's the fact that these devices like RetroTINK and whatnot versus just generic converters or TVs offer no latency, whereas other stuff offers a lot of input lag and latency. But also the conversion itself is more faithful and directed to preserving the original experience, whereas these television companies and whatnot, they don't care about converting analog to digital. It's just kind of an afterthought to them. I talked about this in the video that just went live this morning, but like I'm gonna get another video to play. My Extron stuff that's a fun journey there. That's my original setup when the channel first began. All different racks and stuff now. But when I worked in the home theater stuff, these AV receivers that I sold, they had pretty sophisticated processors and all kinds of abilities and whatnot. But the one funny thing that I thought at the time was a good thing, but I've realized now is actually a good thing hiding a bad thing, which is that they were like, yeah, the video converter that we use in these, the video upscaler and like analog converter is so good that they just bought like a really nice one. It's in all of our models. But like I've kind of learned to like kind of rethink that. Like, nah, what he really meant was they got the same exact like video scaler / converter in all of their models because why would they do anything else? So like they just don't care about like the quality of converting analog video to HDMI to digital. As I learned the hard way, going from my cool little 32-inch 720p TV, I would play Super Nintendo, I would play GameCube, all on there all the time, and then I got my 48-inch 4K TV. It had a breakout adapter instead of like plugging in directly, and it looked terrible. And I was like, what happened? Did it always look like this? Little did I know that, you know, a solution was there the entire time that I wouldn't find out about until years later, which is RetroTINK and similar devices that you can get. And I really like how the channel has let me grow in that regard. Where my game consoles are now, having Extron, everything's component, these cool controllers, the journey over the past 3 years, the game collection itself, like, it's awesome. I'm really happy with it. Everything that I've learned, it's like I've said it before, it's like every video teaches me something new, and that's the truth. Every video does teach you something new, and like that's really cool, because it's a cool technology. I like talking about it, making videos about it, experiencing all this stuff. I will say that I really don't think I'll be getting a RetroTINK 4K Pro, at least not right away. I do not have the money for that right now. That's a big expense. Don't get me wrong, I definitely want one. It looks really cool, and I like the 4K part of it because, after all, 4K is what like got me into all this from the get-go, because it was a 4K TV that I had, and the consoles look so bad on it. They look, the 5X Pro, even the 2X Pro look fantastic on my 4K TV, but it would really be cool to have a device that's giving the same quality that my TV is designed to accept at max, you know? But the cost is definitely gonna be an issue. I can't see myself doing that when it first comes out. I need new shoes. My shoes are really worn, and that's a lot of money. That's like 4 pairs of shoes. So it's a lot to ask. So all right, that's kind of what I wanted to sum up right there. Just a real quick, let's look at some of this past and where we got to, some little trivia here and there. Let's move on to playing around with some stuff. I got the 5X Pro pulled up here. I wanted to make a couple of profiles and then maybe play around with Paper Mario, because I want to keep using the new remote. The new remote's pretty sweet. I really like the way the buttons feel. That's something I'm really starting to grab onto. But let's start playing around with this. Hopefully nothing explodes. Alright. Get this going. Okay, so first up, Super Nintendo. Grab this. I knocked this over. I said that in the other stream. I knocked this controller tower. I knocked it all over. It went backwards and controllers flew everywhere. So Super Nintendo. Just gonna get it pulled up into the game. Alright, so let's do a quick Super Nintendo profile. We're on, this is component, HD Retrovision's component cables. One thing I think I'm gonna do differently with my profiles this time around is I might just not do a profile for like my original Xbox and like PS3, and just free up memory for alternate profiles for other consoles. Because I do plan on another thing that I'm working on is a revision of my game consoles. Again, I've been gradually acquiring these metal pegboards. Actually, I got them right here. Let me show this real quick. Oh, I got these metal pegboards, and these actually slot perfectly into the sides of these racks. The only challenge was finding a way to get them to like hang and fix. So it took some custom work, but I am like really ecstatic about this. Because, like, this is all me. This is not, like, buying a product and using it. I'm building a solution. But these screws, with that flat little head, combine that with a washer and a nut, and, like, these can slot in the shelves of the racks, which then the nut itself would then grip into the pegboard, and that lets this hang. And what I can do is I can, like, totally revamp my wiring. But my real dream with this is that there's a part that's, like, right here, like right past the camera frame is the game rack for the old consoles. So within arm's reach, I've got my Extron switches, like, right here. I want to have, like, the 5X Pro, the 2X Pro, etc., the 4K Pro when I get one eventually, like, all external on the side here, so that I can reach them real easy, adjust the cabling if I have to, versus the current setup, which is where I have to, like, go behind this thing to mess with stuff. So I got, like, half the pegboards that I need, but I did build out the solution that was the really tricky part, which is figuring out how I'm gonna, like, get something to hang in this thing, because it's kind of, you know, it's a little unique. But after multiple trips around town, I was able to build out a custom little screw solution here that I'm very proud of. It's pretty cool. And then I can revamp everything, and my hope is to use a SCART switch for the Super Nintendo, the N64, the PS1, and that'll free up more regular component composite inputs on the Extron switch that I could use for some consoles that I do want, that I just haven't had a place to plug them in. I do actually have room for, like, 2 to 4 more consoles if I space things out differently. But I want an Atari 2600. You can get, like, AV modded ones, so I can use composites. I definitely would like stuff like the Philips CDI, TurboGrafx 16, stuff like that. So if I use a SCART switch, I can free up inputs on the Extrons to utilize that. Or maybe I'll just use a SCART switch that goes into an RGB to comp and just keep everything composite. Like, I haven't decided yet. But that's why I want to leave room for alternate profiles. So got all that out there. Worth noting, if you join the Retro Boost Discord server, I've been posting pictures and talking about stuff like that project in the Discord server. That's what the Discord server is all about. We're talking about movies, gaming, TV shows, and there's a retro gaming section that's for talking about, like, this stuff. I've been talking about the controllers, that project, stuff like that. So, all right. Anyway, let's see. Super Nintendo. I would want 1080p over. That's my favorite for most things. By default, that's usually pretty good. Might just have to bring the picture down some. Let's scale it. Nope, can't do scaling yet. Set it to Super Nintendo sampling. This is a one-chip console. The one-chip console is the one that's currently hooked up. I don't know whether you're supposed to call the other ones 2-chip or 3-chip. I've seen both online, and I got a little confused by that, because I was like, is there both? Is there a 1-chip, a 2-chip, and a 3-chip? Maybe there is. Still learning that kind of stuff. The console technicals are very interesting, and I want to learn more. Alright, so let's dial it in. Trying to figure what that black bar at the bottom is. Is that where it ends? Probably is. The little frame here isn't helping me. Let me delete the purple frame. Okay, there we go. Now we can see. Gotta revoke the style to ensure accuracy. So let's get this thing dialed in. Bring it up. Let's see where the bottom is. There's the bottom. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2. Alright, I think that's pretty good. And that's kind of it for Super Nintendo. I mean, the only other thing would be the V-Sync. Generally, frame lock is what I use. Gen lock is really good if you're trying to use, like, 1440p, I think is one situation for gen lock to be used. Triple buffer is, like, the most accurate, but it does offer a little bit more latency. Not that I can say I've ever noticed latency myself, but I'll do frame lock. There we go. I won't lock it. And then I'm not going to do HDR because Lord knows what that'll do to the stream. That's kind of my basic one right there. One thing I really want to look into is how to calibrate the color. I need to... I've looked into it, and like I know what you need. I just wonder if there's like a cheaper way. Quite pricey. I need to get a way to get like the testing suite or something, because it would be really cool to like dial in the color as well and have like kind of the gaming equivalent of like filmmaker mode for TVs. It's kind of like what I'm seeing this as. That would be pretty sick, but I don't have the equipment to do it. Cool. And let's go ahead and save that. So I'm going to do, when I get a new NES, it's going to go there. So NES, Super Nintendo, let's name it. Oh no. Oh no. Oh no. Oh no. Alright. Yes. And someone pointed out that there's no space button, which I never thought of that before, because I've always done like this. With the comma, and then what the cable type is. Comp for component, which in my head makes sense but may confuse people, because comp and like composite component, same first four letters. But there is no space button, which is interesting. So now we've got a Super Nintendo profile, and this is why I'm doing the recording separate from the stream, because like on my actual monitor right here, it's a 27-inch monitor. Like, that looks so good. It's very clean. Yoshi's Island looks really good. It's one of the reasons I used it for the gameplay video that went up today. I am going to do like a 5X Pro version of that, but it's not going to be as over the top as the 2X Pro one was in regard to how much capture footage I got. My plan is to do clips of 1080p fill over and under will have the relevant sampling mode, and leave it at that instead of doing like that. But like I could have done more. I mean, you could do like we'll do everyone with 4x3, everyone with this, everyone with that. Like the possibilities are endless because the 5X Pro is like this sandbox of a device, which is really cool. So there's a pretty simple 5X Pro SNES profile. Let's see here. Load. There we go. Load back to the default. There's the default. 1080p over definitely fills the screen better. Love it. Alright, so now our next console. What should we do next? How about N64? I love pressing buttons on the Extron switch. It's so much fun. Click, 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 click. Okay, for this one, I get to use this guy. Let me put this into pairing mode. Go. Pair up in a second. I need to make a video about this thing. It's just got so many. It's got so much usage. It's hard to. I haven't like finished my thought processes with it. Okay, so N64. This is an RGB modded N64. It's a SCART cable running into an RGB to comp component into my Extron. I really like everything to run through my Extron switch. It just makes things simple, and I bought those early on and want to make sure I'm utilizing them because it was a big investment. So let's do kind of the same stuff. 1080p over is fun. Now for this, I mean, there's a lot of options for what you want to do with the sampling of this console. Okay, main game. We'll get into the game first. I mean, default, it looks quite good. Alright, we're in learn the game. So, firstly, deblur. Let's get deblur turned on, which should be, I think it's, oh, you know what? On this controller, it's kind of hard to do. Can't even tell it's doing it. Is it doing it? I actually don't think I can press them on this controller. I'd have to map them, but no worries. I can switch it to a different controller. Right here, sir. All right. There it is. Okay. Probably hard to tell on stream. Again, that's why there's a recording. But deblur is now off. Sorry. Deblur is on. So now, I personally like to leave it at generic 4x3, but anything goes here. You could throw it into either, I've seen people play around with it being on the GenSat 320, and I've also, obviously you have N64 320, so I'll do that one. I think Star Fox is one of the games that looks better with the N64. And scaling doesn't need much. A little bit smaller, actually. Let's see where the top is. Cool. Cool. Probably about there. That looks good. Neat. Sometimes this can be a noisier console. Sometimes, but it's probably fine. No need for that. Now, this is a console that I have grown to like with scan lines. The one thing is I can't really do... it might look kind of wacky on stream. The recording is going to be better. But I'm definitely afraid to throw it into HDR, but... because, oh man, that might do some wacky stuff to the recording. But this is a console that I do like to throw scan lines on for. You know what? I'm probably gonna regret this, but you only live once. Let's throw it into HDR. So. All right. Let's see if that comes on stream. I don't even know if you can tell. We'll see. It's super bright right now. Let me turn it down. +10 is usually what I go with, but that even looks a little bit too bright here, so maybe just +5. Yeah, 5 looks good. There's so many. You could do this 100 different ways, maybe even 1,000 different ways. It's really hard. You could do something different for every game. I don't even feel the need to really mess around much with these, but if they add some definition, might be worth it. Yeah, I think 6 will work. So, okay. Somehow, that didn't destroy everything. Let's see how the game itself looks. The funny thing is it actually works on my monitor, even though this is not an HDR compatible monitor, so it's just ignoring the HDR. But it is funny how like way different the two look here side by side. My preview capture is like so... Oh, I missed the laser. My preview capture is like so vivid. All the colors are like popping so much. But the preview monitor is like almost gray by direct comparison. It's funny. It's like I used to tell people, like, you know, hey, these, when I sold the TVs, like, you could really, like, some of these models, the differences are slim, and you're only really seeing them while you're here in the building. You know, you get them home, it's just what you got. It's what you got. But now here, I'm experiencing it now. I got the crappy TV on my right and the good TV on my left. Why do I have the other one? That's pretty funny. I love that job. It was fun talking about TVs and sound systems. I got really into that stuff. Still kind of am. Still enjoy me some. I still collect 4K Blu-rays. I'm a big physical media junkie. I buy all my Switch games physically as well if I can. All right, so N64, I think with scan lines and HDR, like it really makes this console shine a lot. The scan lines in particular really help because they can hide some of the not so good aspects of the N64. Because even if you RGB mod it and everything, it's not perfect. It's a console that just really can't be perfect. It's, you know, it is what it is. So I think HDR and scan lines really go a long way for this particular console. But playing around with multiple games, I will definitely say that it's a console that requires. Sometimes you can be messing with settings game to game. Like one profile is not going to meet the needs of every game. You may have to find yourself adjusting them game to game because some games will come across a lot brighter than others with HDR turned on, and some games look, at least to me, look better with 4:3 generic versus the 320 sampling mode. Like some of them just look too pixelated. They kind of remind me of like playing DS games on the Wii U, if you ever experienced that before. Like that's what it kind of reminded me of. So you just want to be careful. So RGB, let's save that one. All right, let's do one more. We'll do, let's do the Wii. The Wii could be fun. We would like to play. Turn on the Wii. Turn off the N64. Oh, I was so confused for a second. I was like, how is the Wii turning on? It's because we're doing components. So the path to the 5X Pro has not changed. This is the Wii with scan lines and HDR. All right, let's explore this for a second. I'm actually kind of... This is the fun thing about the 5X Pro. You can just do like whatever you want. So we currently have the Wii 1080p fill, N64 sampling with HDR and scan lines. We would like to play. Do whatever you want, you know. You like it, like it. Oh, come on. You can work. Do it. Don't break. Nothing can break today. We fixed everything yesterday. Alright, let's, Smash is tempting. Animal Crossing. Oh, I love me some F-Zero GX. Oh, Godzilla Unleashed. I've been debating going back to that. Mario Baseball, Metroid Prime 3. Oh, what to choose? What's gonna look the wildest with... Oh, you know what? I got it. Sonic Colors. Sonic Colors! I talked about it in my updated 5X Pro profile video, but USB loader for Wii is really cool. You definitely want to go in the settings and adjust it to apply that real-time 480p patch, because it is insane, like how some of this stuff looks. The Wii games look a lot better when they're running what they were supposed to look like. If not for that issue. Okay, so enough joking around. Look at this Sonic. Sonic is very bright and cool with scan lines and HDR. Let's load the default profile, though. And let's pick a different game. I think I want to do Metroid Prime or... so many options. Alright, back in. Okay, so now we're at the default profile. The Wii was like one of those consoles that I've always wanted to get looking as good as it can, because there are just so many games that I love for the Wii and the GameCube and playing them on the Wii, etc. And it was one of the trickier consoles to work with when the 5X Pro first came out. I remember when I did the first video on the 5X Pro, the Wii and the Xbox were both consoles that didn't like seat in the image correctly, and I had a second profile in OBS where the picture was like dragged down a little bit to kind of compensate for it. But now, thanks to custom scaling and cropping, you can fix that. Whoa, you can fix that yourself. Super Mario Galaxy, sure. Where's a nunchuck? It's gonna bug me to plug in a nunchuck. Uh-oh, where is a nunchuck? So I need to reorganize everything. I lose things. Nunchuck. Nunchuck. Where are you, Nunchuck? I can hear you, but I can't see you. There it is. It wasn't buried in cable garbage, I promise. Alright, so let's get into... Oh. Am I playing as Luigi in this one? Probably not. I don't think I've 100%ed this file. Alright. Beautiful. Let's get cracking. So... probably the same thing. Actually, I've started liking 1080p under for some things, but if it doesn't look better, I'll go back. If you don't mind the fact that it doesn't fill the space as much, 1080p under is actually quite clear. But let's see. I'm gonna play around with this a little bit. Generic 4x3 seems to be the clearer. Well, actually, let's I like smooth for this console. It's like taking an eye exam. A or B? A or B? Generic or A? Let's go over. Let's go the total opposite of under. No. A? No. Oh, that's right. You can't even do it. I think it has to be fill. Yeah. Okay. A or B? A or B? I'm going to say A, but I'm not confident. Yeah. Looks like anything goes here. So, the Wii is a fickle monster. I think this combination, though, is quite good. Just have to center it. It's really the, there we go. USB loader goes such a long way for this, though. It's so clear. You get rid of that, what I would call the signature Wii fuzz. You get rid of if you use... Ooh, that looks cool. Whoa, there's like a particle beam behind the screen. Oh, you know what? My TV actually picks that up sometimes. I guess the 5X Pro is doing something with it. That's interesting. Yeah, okay, this is cool. So this is the first time I've booted up the Wii since the brand new firmware, and the color calibration stuff, it's picking up whatever that stuff is, which on my TV, never in the capture, but on the TV it shows up as like red sometimes. Not on everything though, it's kind of random. So that's interesting. I don't know what that is, some kind of noise or interference, I guess. Never been able to like specifically figure out what it is, but it's good to know that I can get it to show up here, so I no longer feel like I'm crazy. That's a win. Let's go for frame lock as well. I would love to use the 1440p modes, but I can't. It's not compatible with my TV, my preview monitor, my regular monitor. or the capture card. Although it used to be for the capture card, I used to be able to like record 1440, but like it wouldn't like it's weird. I got like a firmware update came through, and like ever since then, it hasn't worked right. All right, so N64 be GameCube, then we I might not make a GameCube one because I like using the CARBY. Truthfully, although that may change with the 4K Pro GameCube profile that was shown off from Wobbling Pixels. I think he was Wobbling Pixels was showing it off. Looked pretty cool. What am I doing here? Total brain collapse. Thinking of the 4K Pro again. All right, I'm gonna specify that this is USB. Well, yeah, because the USB loader actually sits a little differently than. Whatever. I'll just do comp for now. Save. This remote's buttons are so much easier to press rapidly like this, I'll just say, versus the standard remote. And I mean, you can hear it, like pressing buttons on both remotes. Old remote. How many of those actually were recognized? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Oh wait, hold on. Down, left, down, left, left. Delete, 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 delete. And then new remote. So much smoother. Smooth, buttery chocolate. Big fan. Like it. Cool. So, played a little around with the 5X Pro profiles. I have to keep building those. I don't want to make that the total focus of the stream, though, because there's 2 videos about that now. But I wanted to do it, play around with the remote some more. It's fun. Wii with the USB loader is so nice. Some games are better than others because some games have cheats you can apply that remove more of the Wii's post-processing. A lot of it was there to begin with to hide the fact that like the 480p stuff like wasn't optimal. So it'll clean up a lot of games. One of the best examples of that is Mario Kart Wii, because there's cheats that remove like the blur, there's cheats that remove like the sun glare, and like you really make it look like pristine. This game I don't think had any. That's why the profile thing said there was like no cheat thing detected. So let's end this with a little bit of Paper Mario gameplay. That would be fun to mess around with. I haven't gone to that game in a while now. 3 doink doink. This controller for now, just because it's already plugged in. Oh, that's not Paper Mario. That's Godzilla. Would help if I actually put it in. Hope this left off where I thought it did. I guess we're gonna find out. So I've been doing Paper Mario streams with double pane. I used action replay cheats to start the game with all badges. The objective of which was to start with double pane, which doubles the damage that Mario takes, to make the game like harder. And I was curious to experience that from the game's like absolute start, to see how difficult it would be to have that immediately. Normally you wouldn't get double pane until like the end of chapter 1 going into chapter 2, I think is like the earliest you can get it. Whereas I just started it with it. And it wasn't actually too bad. I didn't run into any trouble in chapter 1 like I really thought I would. That was the part that was kind of interesting. But the last time I played, finishing chapter 3, had numerous close calls um, that were really funny. I wasn't expecting, and they got pretty dicey against certain encounters. I was sitting there kind of thinking like, "Oh God, how do I get around this?" But that was fun, and I'm looking forward to more of those close calls as the game continues. So I'll play a little bit of this. We'll get into chapter 4. That's where the game was. Just completed chapter 3. This is being played on the CARBY out of the GameCube. It's a cool little HDMI adapter if you're like a real GameCube enthusiast. It's kind of the only thing you have. And you have like the model that has the digital AV port. The CARBY is a great little device. I quite like it. It kind of has like a sharp image, like what RetroTINK's like default look is. So if you'd prefer it to be smoother, that's where you'd want to look into something like RetroTINK 5X Pro, 2X Pro M if you can get one. Apply that smooth filter. I'm not sure if the open source scan converter has that. I would think that it would, but I don't know for certain. As I don't have that. Oh, is this the stealth mission? I thought that was later in the game. Oh yeah, this is the first of the 2 stealth missions. All right. Looking forward to the remake of this when it comes out. I did play through Mario RPG's remake. I was out of town for the past like month. Pretty much all of November. I was out of town for my current job. And I when I was out of town, about halfway through the trip is when Mario RPG came out. And I was able to kind of play through it while traveling. Got through it all. Really good game. Quite liked it. I had never played it before because that came out kind of when I was too young to be playing a game like that. I would have been like struggling with being decent at Mario Kart / Gex at that time. Didn't even have a Super Nintendo. That'd be the other obstacle. So I kind of missed out on it. I did get it for Wii U Virtual Console, but just could never really find the time to want to play it. So my first experience with Mario RPG was that remake. Much the same, my first experience with the Resident Evil was Resident Evil 4 was the remake. And with that game in particular, I'm really glad that that was the first way that I played it, because that was a fun time. Roger or whatever. Oh man, going back to the topic of like the history of the channel, um, one really interesting thing was happening. It wouldn't really be until like September, October of 2021 that I was like really ramping up videos on like the retro technology subject, because I made those 2 videos on the 2X Pro and like 1 video on the CARBY, and then I did some comparisons between the two, and all that was kind of spread out across like spring and summer. And then the 5X Pro came out, and I didn't get it initially. I got them on like their second wave, and like that was the time where I was like, okay, this is the stuff that really interests me, and I think it's just cool as hell, and I want to talk about this stuff now, full on. So that was when I announced on the channel's Facebook page that I would no longer be doing like smart home videos, and at first I just left it at that. Like, I'm not going to do these anymore. Be aware of that, whoever's reading this. But the problem is, people were still watching the smart home videos and they were subscribing, and like that was the biggest source of my subscribers were those videos. And I said this earlier, like I felt like I was just misleading people, like it was a trick or something, and that wasn't my intention. So I was like, man, I gotta do something about this. So I decided to just delete all the smart home videos, which just annihilated my channel's like analytics. Like it removed so many views and watch time hours, but it was worth it because, like I said, I just felt bad about how people were coming in for that content that I wasn't going to make any more of. But the other funny thing that I observed is kind of the first whole half of like, not even the first, maybe just like all of like the huge bulk of 2022, maybe the first 2/3 of it, was just this non-stop like subs go up, subs go down kind of thing. That's what it felt like, at least, because I felt like the smart home crowd was unsubscribing as more of the retro gaming crowd was coming in. I thought it was just really funny. Whew. Only thing I don't think I'm totally jazzed about regarding the remake of this game is the music. It just kind of sounded off to me. But I don't know. Maybe when I actually get in front of the game and play it, it won't be a problem. But the Paper Mario default soundtrack is like very bouncy, electronic. Although some of it has like, you know, real instrument sounds like violins and stuff during the battle scenes. And the remake doesn't have any of that vibe to it. It sounded more like trumpets and like it's a jazz club kind of thing. I don't know if I like that more or less. It's hard to say. All right. And that concludes the interlude of chapter 3 to 4, so we're heading into proper chapter 4 now. I was gonna program a couple more of my profiles, but those issues kind of prevent that from being the case. NES being dead and my nicer cable for PS1 being apparently defective. It sucks, but it is what it is. Just gotta move forward, I guess. The NES, I will say, I was definitely surprised at how much I really do like the Super Nintendo sampling mode for it. Quite like that. This is the first time I've ever played through the game with double pane, but like not... Like I did like a whole let's just cheat like maniacs kind of playthrough. Where I just had all the badges and just like went through it, having a good old time. But this time, doing it legit. It's been interesting. Like I said, I thought I would run into more trouble in Chapter 1, but I did not. It wasn't until that last one that things got kind of crazy. I'm not writing him. Go, almost there. Gotta mark the next location on the map. Oh, actually, we can clear that now. Well, be gone. I did see, we just did a podcast about this. We recorded it today as I'm filming this. Saw Godzilla -1 2 days ago. Thought it was really good. Not only going to talk about it beyond just the fact that it's really good. It is. The funnier part of that was my friend Tori, who I do content with on the channel, Retro Boost Arcade, which is like gameplay and fun, though that I've been doing since right about the same time that I started doing the retro tech videos. A little bit before actually, because there's like some really early Retro Boost arcades that were not recorded, with RetroTINK being the midpoint that converts it to digital. Like Mario Party 3 for N64, it's just an N64 breakout adapter into my StarTech capture card. No special. It looks like crap. So I've been doing that a long time. Now that I'm realizing I meant to talk about that earlier, but didn't. Because Retro Boost Arcade is like one of my favorite things that I make for the channel. It's like the most fun thing to film, and the most fun thing to edit for the most part, because how much fun it is. That's evolved quite a bit over the years. But we do a podcast now too. And the funniest part, the most interesting, fun part about the -1 experience was we booked, because of our schedules. Excuse me. gosh. Because of our schedules, only one showtime jived between both of us. Which this one particular showtime was like this expensive version of the movie called 4DX. And I had never experienced 4DX before. The particular theater we were going to, I haven't been to in like 10 years. It was like my childhood movie theater. I don't live near there anymore. But it was the best place for the two of us to meet. So we've got no idea what we're getting ourselves into with this. The only thing I made sure was the case was that it wasn't 3D, because I really didn't want 3D. But it wasn't 3D, so I was like... oh man, I have to trigger the pipe first. Dang it. So I know it's not 3D, it's something else, and I was like, okay. I'm reading a little bit about it on like the like Fandango's like booking thing, and it says like that the seats shake or whatever. So I was like, oh, it's got like home theater shakers. I know what those are. I've seen them. I think I installed one once. No big deal. That could be fun. The seats shake and, you know, cool. No big deal. But man, we were not ready for that. The seats are like roller coaster seats. It's like 4 in a group, and they're all on this big like hydraulic thing. And they all like shoot up and move around. But the thing that was so funny about it was that it was so abrupt. Because in that movie, there's like an action scene, like pretty much right at the start, and you don't expect it. And it's a surprise in the movie. It's borderline a jump scare. But you combine that with the seats. These seats just like go from being like totally still to just like they shoot up and then they jut left and they jut right. Like you're in a washing machine. And like we weren't prepared for that. No one was prepared for that. People were screaming in their seats, and this girl 2 seats over from me, who was like texting on her phone or something on her phone. She wasn't paying attention to the movie. Their phone went like flying out of her hand and like landed on the floor somewhere, and she's trying to like dig for it as the seats continue to like rock all around. Every time it happened, like Tori would be like, Jesus Christ, like as it moved. It was insane. And then like on top of that, there's like strobe lights that are going off in the theater that are part of this immersion thing, and those were like painful. Like I hated that. And then like this fog would shoot up, but like there were 2 problems with that. Problem number 1, the fog shooting up makes noise, and the noise it makes is like really distracting and like immersion breaking, because like the whole idea is that the fog is like, ooh, it's like dust. Oh yeah. I assure you, Deadmaster, like it was funny. I don't know if it added anything to the movie, but like Godzilla's foot would come down and like the fog shoots up because it's like supposed to be like dust in that example, but like it's really kind of like broken. It breaks you out of it when this just sound goes off, because you're like, what's making the sound in the movie? Nothing would be. The only time that it was like kind of cool was there's a lot of scenes on boats, and like the seats would move really slowly, like if you were a boat on the water. And I'm like, cool, that's immersive. Like that makes you feel like you're there. It also makes you feel like you're on a boat, so I can see some people just getting really sick. But the best part about this was, because of how just insane this all was, we kept making like jokes to each other, and one of the funniest things that Tori said to me, he leans over and goes like, can you imagine someone's grandma, like, no, grandma, and like this old lady like shoots out of the chair and like flies over the next row. And he tells me that like right before this super dramatic scene plays out. It's like very, very somber, and it was the one time that no one's making noise in the theater, no one's talking or nothing. And he says, "Grandma, no," to me. And like I got that visual in my head, like this rag doll just flying out of the seat. And I'm trying not to laugh like super hard, like just struggling to contain myself as this like really dramatic, sad scene is playing out. It's like, you know, when you're trying not to laugh and you have like that kind of, you're gonna pop. You're gonna be like, like that. Like that's what I was trying to hold back, and it was so difficult. And like he's laughing, he's like, it was so ridiculous. Wow. It was a goofy time. Pretty cool. Movie's amazing. I would definitely recommend anyone to see it. Anyone that likes action, disasters, obviously Godzilla. I'm a long-time Godzilla fan and junkie. I mean, you can see in the background there. Oh God, mirrors. How do they work? Whatever. It's over there. You can see it. Oh, you turn into a pig. For whom the bell tolls, it's pigs. This chapter kind of scared me as a kid. I was like, I'm gonna turn into a pig. That'd be terrible. But yeah, -1 was a very good movie. Seeing it in 4DX might have been a mistake. It's just so aggressive. I couldn't believe that there were no seatbelts after experiencing how it was like you're in a car crash. Like it was just getting thrown around like crazy. And I was like, it's wild that there's no seatbelts. It's wild that there was no like safety thing that played. Like they'll play tutorials for putting on your 3D glasses, but they won't play a tutorial that warns you, hey, you might die if you're not prepared for this. It was so crazy that I actually asked on the way out. I asked one of the employees of the theater, I was like, I got a real question for you. How many people like get hurt in there? And she told me, she's like, this grandmother tripped and fell on the stairs a few months ago. And I was like, the stairs? The one part of the room that doesn't move? Okay. Maybe she was just nauseous from all the shaking, though. Could have been related. That was my other thought. But that was a good time. My body's all traumatized though now because I'm gonna get that movie on like Blu-ray or something and be watching it here. I'll be on the couch and I'll be like tensing up because my body's like ready for the couch to toss me aside like it did in the theater when I saw it. It'll be very different to see it without the seat trying to betray me. There we go. I want to do like at least one battle against these like super hard guys that are here. Wee. This person's husband or whatever turned into a pig, and she's also, oh no, it's a, yeah. Oh, that's funny. I'm not even pressing the buttons for that. Man, like that would have been the best if they said a grandma launched out of their seat. I mean, like it's so violent that felt like that could really happen. Just the image I pictured. The reason I was struggling to like not laugh was because when he said that, he was like, "No, Grandma, no!" and like it makes a gesture like this. I'm picturing like the end of The Naked Gun when like O.J. Simpson's character in the wheelchair like falls down the stairs and like hits that rail, and his body just like rockets out of the chair, and it's like a rag doll that flies. Like that was in my head, like this person just rocketing out of their seat and flying head over heels. He also had a big bowl of popcorn too that he got. Very hilariously too, it was popcorn that wasn't even like for Godzilla. He got the collector's tin for the movie concert thing, Renaissance. So he has like this big like metal popcorn bowl in his lap, and it wasn't in his lap by chance when the movie started. And I was like, dude, you got to put that back in your lap because I need to see if it'll fly out of your lap at some point. It was so funny. I just can't believe that they didn't play a warning of any kind before it started. There's a height requirement apparently. They didn't say what that was. Again, no warning or nothing, but I guess they would have warned you when you're maybe they vet people when they're walking in, and they're like, nope, your son there is the weight requirement that he'll be in the ceiling if you go in there. Uh-oh, the gate guy's gone. Man, Yoshi's cold. He ain't no obstacle for us. Off we go. I just thought it was funny that it happened to be a grandma. I mean, that alone was pretty hysterical. That we were making jokes about it being grandma, and they're like, "Oh yeah, grandma did get hurt in there. She just fell down the stairs, as opposed to got rocketed out of the seat." Okay, these guys are the ones I was worried about. Because these guys are going to hit really hard. Oh, it was funny. Like when I thought she would just say like no or like I don't know or whatever. I thought it was hilarious that she actually was like, actually yes, someone did get hurt in there, but like it wasn't what I thought it was gonna be. The stairs, the one part that doesn't explode. That room was loaded with nonsense. I mean, the seats moved. That's scary. That's also scary. The seats move. The fog machine thing in the front blows up fog, which also clouds up in front of the screen and ruins the screen's picture quality. And then the strobe lights, which they turned them off, I guess, because we saw a person... Oh, 12! Oh, no, sir. That's what I was afraid of for this fight. That's the kind of numbers I'm looking for. So they must have complained and turned off the strobe lights. And then there's also smell, which is supposed to be part of it, but I never, like... Oh, crap. I don't recall there being anything that smelled like anything in that movie. It was like this weird cleaning smell. And then there were fans, and the fans would blow to simulate wind. But, like, it never did it when it made sense. Like, these characters were, like, standing by the ocean, and, like, the ocean breeze is part of that, but there'd be no blowing. But then when they're on the water, it would blow sometimes. It was really inconsistent. Alright, I want more... more moves. Oh, yes, it was definitely better than Godzilla vs. Kong. Objectively speaking, -1 might be like the best Godzilla film ever made. The thing that it really nails is like the human part of it. Oh, damn it. I've never watched a Godzilla film ever where like I did care if the people were gonna be okay. The main characters. I was like genuinely tense when one of them was in peril's path at one point. That and Godzilla has never been portrayed as being like so just... I don't know what the right word is. Like, not really evil, but like just so vicious. He is like very intimidating in that movie. They nailed a lot of it. It was really good. Godzilla vs. Kong, I enjoyed it too, but I think that's definitely one of the weaker movies, like overall in all of them. The human plot especially, like, oh good lord. There was so much silly, dumb things in that. Wasn't a fan of Mechagodzilla's design. Although I thought the Godzilla versus Kong part of it was fun. But yeah, overall, I'm not a huge fan. I am looking forward to the next one though, because I mean, when a movie that's not super good gets a sequel, it's like a big chance to do things better, you know? No! Ah! Ah. No, don't charge. I don't want to. Oh god. And they're spiky, so they're gonna do even more. Ah! Gonna wear them down. Are they in killing range, please? Be in killing range? Oh no. Oh no. You gotta be kidding me. How'd that miss? I shook the ground. Oh, Jesus. This is what I was looking forward to. This is it. This is where it gets crazy. Double pain. 2 moves. 98% of my health. Well, I mean, to be fair, suspend all beliefs. I mean, you pretty much have to do that with like every Godzilla movie. Although, not really with -1. That's what's so good about it. You don't really have to do that for -1. Like, everything is presented very well. Oh crap, I didn't even get the thing I was supposed to get. I'm supposed to keep going. You know what? There was an inn, wasn't there? Yeah. Let me regenerate my power. Huh. Have a nice twilight. Clever. Because it's Twilight Town, they don't ever have other stuff here. Alright. Gotta go a little bit further to get the other key. No! Stay away. No quarrel with you. Got it. Alright, now we're gonna get our next transformative power up. Man, that's there might be some game overs in this chapter. I can see it coming. I think it's they can do a lot of damage per turn. Alright, shop key. Yeah. Raid the place. Ooh, defense plus. Alright, I have to write that down though. Because since I used action replay to start the game with all badges, I don't want to just use whatever I want. So I'm writing down when I get badges on my little ledger here. And that tells me what my inventory is actually supposed to be. I have to wonder what the villain of Godzilla Cross Kong 2 is gonna be. There's this part of me that like really wants it to be Destroyer, given that they you know, they've provided an Easter egg in Godzilla King of the Monsters that could be what we get. I've seen a couple of things that led me to believe that it could be Space Godzilla, which I would be in favor of. I think that Space Godzilla is pretty cool. The name maybe needs to be improved on, but I don't have a problem with a clone of Godzilla that's basically a warlock, you know? All of his weird powers. That could be fun too. Or it's going to be something like totally original, which I haven't been like a super big fan of the original like legendary monsters personally. I mean, I think the skull crawlers are like, you know, they're cool enough for their own movie. But the you just can't beat Toho's monsters, you know. They're in the league of their own. Mainly because they're so dumb that they're cool, like is the thing. And I haven't seen the oh damn it, I hit the wrong button again. I haven't seen Monarch yet. I mean, I've heard that's really good, but I would wonder if there's any Toho monsters in that one. I mean, yeah, I'm the same way. Like, I'll watch them all. Like, no matter how much I may dislike a particular entry, or for whatever reason I don't like it, I've watched Godzilla what is it even called? Godzilla, is it Vs. Kong? The first one, 2021. I've probably watched it beginning to end like 4 times. I groan at some of the stuff that goes on with the people in that movie, but there's parts of it that I super like. So I'm glad it's getting a sequel. I want more Godzilla out there. Oh damn it, I ran into him. Oh my god, they both have. Well, it's actually not that bad because those don't do a lot of damage. Alright. Nice. Yeah. No, I didn't do as much as I thought I was gonna do. No, don't freeze me. Oh, it's the one thing I asked for. Uh-oh. Ow. Okay. Ah! Okay, it should be enough though. No, they don't, man. Like, it's bad. He's hyper. The enemies in this chapter can all charge up, and since I got that double pain badge turned on, they'll do like 14 to 16 damage at peak. And the real problem right now is that there's no the item shop is closed in this town for story reasons. So, you know what I need to do? I need to go just get healing items, because this is going to be a problem. Ah, oh, I do want to stay. No, stop skipping it. Yes, I'll stay. You know, one thing that people complain about a lot about Godzilla vs. Kong that I actually liked, and I'm curious who else likes it. I thought it was pretty cool that there was a character who could like communicate to him and make Kong more of a character than just a monster. I really like that element of it, personally. Giving the monsters more personality is something that, you know, Toho was doing in the 60s with them, whether it be through jokes or just genuine interaction, like the really funny scene from Ghidorah the Three-Headed Monster, where Godzilla, Rodan, and Mothra all just talk to each other. Like, stuff like that I'm a big fan of, so it was cool that something like that worked its way into that movie. Yes, I'd like all your super shrooms, please. I got buy 4 get 1 free right there. All right, now we're ready. Oh, save the game. Come on. Alright. Bring out Coops. I think that's where I'm going to end this one. I'm all geared up and ready to go. I've experienced the pain that awaits. So, cool. Thank you, everyone who has popped in and watched. Super big thanks for getting the channel to 1,000 subscribers. It's a huge deal, and I'm really appreciative of that. I've had fun messing around, reminiscing on some old videos and where it's come from. Definitely experiencing the maximum pain that that this double pain can offer in Paper Mario. Seeing that 14 and 16, that's 2 hit deaths. So this chapter is going to be nuts. And now that I'm back in town and not working anymore, I want to start streaming on the weekends again. So unless I post about it sooner, I'll continue this on Saturday. That'll be the objective. So again, thanks everyone who's watched. Really appreciate you. Fun talking to you as well, Deadmaster. Appreciate you being here. Always good to come across another Godzilla fan. -1's very good. Definitely recommend seeing it. And if you're brave, see it in 4DX. And thank you again so much for that. Really appreciate it. Have a good one, everybody. See y'all next time.